Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Everyday Finance with Jay. My name is Jay. The current world situation is pretty grim. The coronavirus has affected everything. The number of people who are getting sick per day in the United States is increasing day by day. The number of patients around the world has topped over 750,000, and it has affected everyone regardless of your socio-economical background. Like, for example, if you want to go out to eat at a restaurant, or there's unfortunate industries that have to lay and furlough workers, for example, in the restaurant and food industries. And today, what I want to cover with you is talk about companies that are not mentioned too much in the media that could potentially grow in the near future because the need and the supplies are dwindling, and what these companies have to offer is in high demand. Because I want to cover these companies, like you might have heard in the news, in the media, about companies such as Zoom Video, Amazon, Walmart, and a few other companies are growing in this financial crisis. And for example, Zoom Video in the past 3 months has increased in their stock price over 100%. There are weddings held on Zoom now. So basically, companies are doing remote work, or if you want to talk to other people, people use Skype or similar services on Apple and other medias, and Netflix. Everyone's talking about the Tiger King the past weekend. So what I want to cover is before these three companies, before they become like Zoom and their stock price increase by 30, 40, 50% or even more, I want you to know about it. And as always, everything I'm covering today is just my personal opinion. If you do invest in the financial market, there's always a risk involved to your capital investment. Please consult a professional before you do any investment. What I want to cover with y'all today is in the field of medical supply manufacturer. And before we talk about the specific companies, I want to share something with you, the elephant in the room. What if the governor or the president of the United States shuts down all non-essential companies? What happens to the manufacturer that make medical supplies? Well, in the definition of Homeland Security, they are called critical manufacturer, and they're essential to the country, in which when the governor shuts non-essential companies down, that means these manufacturers still get to keep on going, and they're still making medical supplies that doctors and hospitals will need. So in that case, regardless of what is shut down, these companies that provide medical supplies will not be shut down. New York is considered the epicenter of coronavirus in the United States. And the governor of New York announced on March 24th last week that ventilators are in dire need. And he said something about 30,000 additional ventilators are needed in the next 2 weeks. And when he made the comment back last week, they had about 3,000 to 4,000 ventilators and purchased an additional 7,000. If you add that up, that is only about 1/3 of the current need in New York. And the governor has said, quote, that we're looking at an apex in 14 days. So an apex will be the peak, and 14 days from the 24th of March is about next week or early the week after that. And the number of people infected in New York are dramatically increasing day by day. And as of this video, March 30th, there are over 66,000 cases in New York, and over 5,800 was added just today. And from that number alone, total cases in New York, that is more than a lot of the countries in the world. So basically, one out of the 50 states in the United States has more cases than majority of the countries in the rest of the world. And New York is just one state. That means if you extrapolate the need for ventilators to the rest of the world, rest of the United States, you can just imagine how of short supply are ventilators. And the governor has also enacted that patients can share ventilators. Up to 2 patients can use 1 ventilator at a time. That is how incredible of a need ventilators are. We just covered how much of a supply need ventilators are. What does this mean for manufacturers who make them? That means they will go into overdrive and produce as many ventilators as possible. But what if they can't keep up with the demand? Then they will recruit other companies to help them out. On March 24th, they recruited automaker Ford. I did not misspoke there. Automaker Ford company has agreed to team up with company 3M and GE to make ventilators. Both Ford and GE, their stock price have tanked really hard in 2020. And GE recently has announced that they're going to lay off 10% of their aviation workforce. And Ford also announced on Tuesday, March 24th, that they're extending their US factory shutdown beyond March 30th, which was the original reopen date. And with all these negative news, the stock price for Ford and GE have tanked really hard, which makes it really attractive for investors. You might look at the stock price today, March 30th, and see that they have increased over 25% in the past 5 days, and think to yourself that you might have missed the boat. Fear of missing out, missed the chance, the very bottom, to purchase them. But let's look at this overall perspective. You and I were long-term investors preparing for the future for retirement, that at 65 or earlier than that, which means you're looking for the overall long-term investment. In the past 3 months, both Ford and GE, their stock price dropped significantly, way more than the increase in the past 5 days. And with the overall trend, the number of cases in the United States is increasing day by day, and we're reaching over 20,000 new infected person day by day. And by the end of this week, early April, the number is going to be double than the second country, and it's going to be more need for medical supplies, which means that companies like 4G and 3M are going to increase their capacity to make them to the max, and maybe that is not even enough to keep up. So that means that right now, when they're still really low and really cheap, it would be a good time to take a look and see what price point you are comfortable investing in them. Today, we have covered the medical supply needs of ventilators. Companies 3M, Ford, and GE have teamed up to make more ventilators. Ventilators is just a small portion of the whole overall arching need of medical supplies. For example, number of patient beds, that's going to decrease too, and other areas of the medical supply chain can be also explored. So I encourage you to look further in that category. And as always, thank you so much for your support. Click and subscribe. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And please comment down below with any suggestions for future videos, anything you'd like to see, and any field you would like me to dive deeper into within this coronavirus-induced recession. I think we're heading there. And I think it's just going to get a little bit worse before it gets better, because the number of infected people is not decreasing. It's increasing more and more, guys. Stay healthy and be well. Have a great rest of your day.